On July 9th, 2016, we will begin our trip to the Pacific Rim National Park Reserve. We start things off smoothly at the Toronto Pearson International Airport, where we will meet at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Once everybody is together, we will discuss the plan for our day so that everybody stays safe. When it is time to do so, we will board our flight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, which takes off at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time. After takeoff, we will begin our trip over to YAZ International Airport in Victoria, British Columbia. Once we are there, we will drive to the campsite via the complimentary shuttle provided by the airline we will be taking. Once we arrive at our campsite, we will set up our tents and make sure our food is in a secure place to go along with our personal snacks that students may bring. When everything is set up and everybody is comfortable, we will go to bed at 11:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to prepare for the early morning the next day. On July 10th, 2016, for day 1 at the Pacific Rim National Park Reserve, we will wake up at 6 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will then eat breakfast at 6:15 a.m. and get ready for the day before 7:15 a.m. The shuttle to the kayaking shop will then leave at 7:20 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The shuttle will take us here to Majestic Ocean Kayaking Shop. We will then leave for kayaking at 8:25 a.m. and get to the ocean at 8:30 a.m. We will then leave for our trip before lunch break starts at 12:30 p.m. to pick berries and eat our protein bars. The trip will finish at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time after we travel through the ocean around the Pacific Rim National Park. We will arrive back to the campsite at about 5:45 p.m. and fish for our dinners between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock p.m. We will then eat over the campfire at our site at 7:20 p.m. We will play some campfire games as a community until 9 p.m. when our curfew is due. On July 11th, 2016, for day 2 at the Pacific Rim National Park Reserve, we will wake up at 6:30 a.m. Then we will eat breakfast at 6:45 a.m. before we get ready to go surfing at 7:20 a.m. We will leave for surfing at 7:30 a.m. and then arrive at the ocean to surf at 7:45 a.m. We will be surfing right here at the point with the Surf Drunks and crew. We will get set up and then surf between 8 o'clock a.m. and 1 o'clock p.m. We will take a shuttle to the bear watching at 1:15 p.m. We will then arrive at 1:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Lunch will be eaten out of containers that we brought along with us. Then we wait until 3 o'clock p.m. when our tour leaves. We will be witnessing beautiful wildlife between 3 o'clock p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. along the shores of Tofino, British Columbia. Then we will take a shuttle back to camp at 7:15 p.m. and arrive back to camp at 7:45 p.m. Then we will not have time for fishing over at the pond, so we will eat our dinners of oatmeal over the fire. Then we will hang out with our friends and have some free time until our 10 o'clock p.m. curfew, when we will go to bed. On July 12th, 2016, for day 3 at the Pacific Rim National Park Reserve, we will wake up at 8:30 a.m. Then we will eat breakfast at 8:45 a.m. before we get ready for the hot coves at 9:10 a.m. The shuttle to the water taxi will then leave at 9:20 a.m. The water taxi will take us to a separate island for 10 o'clock a.m. This island is where the hot coves and hot springs will be. We will stay at the hot coves between 10 o'clock a.m. and 1 o'clock p.m. before we will take a float plane back to the campsite at 1 o'clock p.m. This float plane experience will be a once-in-a-lifetime chance for many of us on this trip. So, it will definitely be a great time. Then we will have lunch at the campsite between 2:40 and 3 o'clock p.m. Then we will have free time for sports and activities until 5:30 p.m. After that, we will get ready to fish between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock p.m. at the local pond beside the campsite. We will then eat at 7:30 p.m. After that, we will play some campfire games and have some s'mores that we will be bringing along with us on this trip until our 9:30 p.m. curfew. On July 13th, 2016, for Day 4 at the Pacific Rim National Park Reserve, we will wake up at 8:45 a.m. before we eat breakfast at 9 o'clock a.m. Then we will get ready to go before 9:20 a.m. before a shuttle will take us to Ocean Outfitters at 9:30 a.m. Then, once the shuttle picks us up, we will make our way over to Ocean Outfitters, this time to do whale watching. We will do the whale watching from 10 o'clock a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. around the shores of mainly Tofino, British Columbia. For this excursion, we will also go out further into the ocean so that we can witness some of the most amazing whales human eyes have ever seen. We will then go back to the docks at Ocean Outfitters before a shuttle takes us back to the campsite at 1:45 p.m. Once we arrive at the campsite, we will have lunch until 2:15 p.m. when we will clean up the campsite for our last day here at the Pacific Rim National Park Reserve. We will finish cleanup at 3 o'clock p.m. before we go on an unguided trail hike as a class between 3:15 p.m. and 5:15 p.m. Once again, we will fish for our dinners between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock p.m. at the pond right beside the campsite. Then we will have dinner at 7:15 p.m. And then, once we are done for our last night here at the park, we will have free time where we can play sports, activities, talk with our friends, and just relax after a fun, eventful week. This will go until 10 o'clock p.m. where we will have a curfew to go to bed as we will have to wake up early to fly back home to Toronto the next day. On July 14th, 2016, our final departure date at the Pacific Rim National Park Reserve, we will wake up at 6 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time and eat breakfast at 6:15 a.m. We will then be ready to leave at 6:45 a.m. and arrive at the YAZ Victoria International Airport at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will then follow the regular airport routine before our flight leaves at 9:45 Pacific Standard Time to YAZ Pearson International Airport. We will then land in YYZ Pearson International Airport at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This will be after a 4-hour and 25-minute flight home. The flight home is half an hour shorter due to the west to east flow of the jet stream. Our wilderness experience in the Pacific Rim National Park is sadly over, but we definitely had a great time. In order to get to the Pacific Rim National Park Reserve, you may need some directions on how to get there. It is recommended that you leave your house at about 5:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on July 9th, 2016 to allow 50 minutes travel time to Pearson International Airport. To start off, you would like to drive from Pickering, Ontario to Pearson International Airport. Once you are there, you should go to the domestic departure section of Terminal 3. From there, you will not need to worry about directions as you will board our flight and be taken to YAZ in Victoria, BC, where we will be picked up by a shuttle and taken to the campsite for our awesome vacation. This is the total cost broken down for our trip to the Pacific Rim National Park. All of these prices are shown in Canadian currency. The total cost will be $1,041.98, which is a great deal for the amount of activities we will be doing during our time at the Pacific Rim National Park. The food will cost $81.99 for the 6 days in total that we will be staying there. The camping equipment is $50 at $10 a night, and there will be 2 people in each tent. We will be provided with air mattresses and comfortable sleeping quarters for everybody on the trip. The transportation will be free of charge, as we are receiving complimentary shuttles around the islands by the services we will be using. The total amount of money for the activities we will be participating in is $761. The kayaking is $170 for the first day, and the Sea to Sky tour and the Hot Springs Cove is almost $400 because we will be taking a float plane out of there, which in my opinion is definitely worth it. The bear watching and whale watching are both $89 from Ocean Outfitters, and we will be able to witness some of Vancouver Island and Pacific Rim National Park's amazing wildlife. The surfing on the second day is $79. The fishing for $15 a day is a total of $75 for the week, so that we can get all of our fish for dinner. The food will include spaghetti, beef stew, protein bars, and dried vitamin food. This will keep us fueled for all of our activities the 4 days we will be there. We will have 2 travel days and 4 days for activities during our time. Pacific Rim National Park is located on Vancouver Island between Tofino and Ucluelet and takes up about 511 kilometers squared of the island. They receive an annual precipitation of 292 centimeters and an average summer temperature of 14 degrees Celsius. It is nor the driest nor the coolest place in the world, but it definitely has a large array of wildlife. Pacific Rim is home to several species of wildlife, including wolves, bears, shorebirds, cougars, and marmots. Marmots, however, are very endangered. They need our help to keep them alive. When we go to the Pacific Rim National Park, we will be bringing along a total of $300 at $10 a person to go towards captive breeding to rise the levels of marmots on Vancouver Island and in the Pacific Rim National Park. The island is located in the Western Cordillera landform, which is the farthest west landform in all of North America. The park consists of forests, cold water Pacific Ocean, and a mountain range. Also, most of the vegetation on the island is in the temperate rainforest, which is one of the most luscious forests in our country. Pacific Rim National Park is Canada's oldest national park and one of Canada's most interesting national parks to visit. It is very fun and we would have a great time on this trip. Thank you for watching.